Hello everyone, I am René van Rems AIFD, and I am going to show you a little bit about the technique and the inspiration really on the arrangement that I did to honor my friend Matt Wood AIFD. Many of you know him, and his sense of style was phenomenal. So what I'd like to do is give you a little bit of information on that. I'm going to talk a little bit about principles and elements, but I'd like to keep this kind of brief and short. And so firstly, I want to thank Lynn Larry McLean, the CEO, CFO, probably both, knowing Lynn, of the foundation, the AIFD Foundation, and Mr. Charlie Corpetti, who is the chairman and the inspiration behind this competition. And in case you had not heard this, but over 200 people actually, or 197 to be fact-checked, participated in this amazing competition from all over the world, which is phenomenal. And I'm very honored to have won this competition. We had a jury, we had judges, they are all AIFD members. And for those of you that are not familiar with AIFD, it stands for the American Institute of Floral Designers. So having said that, I want to share with you real quickly the tips and tricks, as Hitomi Gilliam always calls it, the tips and tricks of this arrangement. So the theme of this is what we call reverse proportion, and different people have given it different names. But the idea is that instead of going up in the arrangement, we're going 1/3 up and 2/3 down, or in some cases even longer. So it's reverse proportion. For those of you that are not familiar with the term, it is listed in this phenomenal book. This is the AIFD guide to floral elements and principles and a lot of other things. This is like, excuse the word, but the Bible to people that want to learn about floral design. And then another book that I always refer to is Hitomi Gilliam's and John Haynes's book, which is an antique. And it's Design Compendium, and it's about styles and methods of design. I'm sure you can find this online somewhere, and it's a really good book. So the style of this is reverse proportion, and the technique is very simple. I'm going to start with the material going down, draping down, and then up about 1/3. This is a really cool look for centerpieces because you can go up a little higher, but then not block the view and have it drape down. So it's a really fun thing to know to do. You do need a tall container. It's hard to do it in a shorter container. So here is this urn, or here's one of my prize Mobug vases that has an opening. You can go down like that, or you can certainly use a basket with a liner and go down. And what is most obvious, of course, is a glass cylinder of some sort. And if you don't want to do it in a container, you can actually use a candelabra, make it short at the top and let it hang down. So that's kind of the idea. So first, but mostly, this is not a water retaining container. It's raw stone. And so what I'm doing in this is you need floral foam. And for those of you who know how I design, I love floral foam because you can do things that you cannot do with chicken wire or any other technique. So I have a 9-inch syndicate sales tray. I use the Midnight foam, which is fantastic. And of course, pre-soaked, I always cut the edges off. I use clear tape. It's probably because I've seen people use green tape and you can see it from a mile away. So I use clear tape. go from corner to corner. Then, in order to secure it, I have some U-glue strips. We all know what U-glue strips are. They're attached to the plastic, and I'm just going to take off the paper. And when that's done, this is seated right there. By the way, you only have one right way to do it. There it is. Notice how high the foam is. If you cut your foam lower, it won't be able to drape because you need to go in invertedly, right? So there's the container. And here's one quick tip that many of you know, but I love chenille, otherwise known as pipe cleaner. And this stuff is great because when you put this in the foam with a stem, it won't fall out. So if you have really heavy items or things that just really hang, I put a little piece of chenille around there and insert it, and it won't come out. So that is pretty much the beginning of it. Now, for those of you that like to do things quickly, which I like to do things quickly, this should not take more than 20 minutes. So one of the things you can do is to take a really broad leaf, a tea leaf, or in this case, a canna, C-A-N-N-A, and you can actually take this, whichever side you want to use, insert it in the foam all the way at the top, and bend it over and add something. Look at how much foam I've just covered, and I can still stick through here to place in the foam. So to start something fun, I have some California holly berries, and you just have to make sure you don't go overboard on the weight that is reversed. So there that is, and that is going through the leaf all the way at the very bottom, so the edge of the container. Don't stick it up high because then you're going to run into your own stems, right? So you insert that, and that's it. Thanks for watching. Oh, humor today. So this is how you place it. It goes all the way at the bottom and down. So, and if you wanted to go further down, you just have to go higher up in the foam and reverse the stem. So this happens. Another greenery that's phenomenal for this is Muhlenbeckia. And Muhlenbeckia is a very fast growing vine. One of the key elements to a reverse proportion arrangement, especially if you want it to be very decorative, is to have materials that automatically hang down. So here is a greenery called Muhlenbeckia. This is a great plant. It lasts pretty well as a cut material, and it's not easy to find, but I have it in my garden. And so you can see already that when you place this, it really does a nice job cascading. Then, of course, the part that I love to work with are pomegranates, and they were my friend Matt's favorite. This is fresh pomegranate. Of course, if you want to do this any other time of the year, Knut Nielsen Company has these, and I am sure that Windward International has these as well, because Matt made some for them. So you can see that that just kind of goes straight down. And again, if you want it to go even lower, you can do that. And if it's material that can just hang without a water source, like these berries, these fruit, you can actually use this stem right here and just hang that in, and voila. So you have to kind of think of architecture and design. And one more time, remember, you have to start with what goes down first, because you can't get under it if you make the top. So you have to think of this as an architectural thing. Then I mentioned the chenille. So here is amaranthus. This is not the color I'm going to use, but notice I stuck chenille in there, and I just insert that and it would stay. So this is just variation on a theme, if you will. If you don't have Muhlenbeckia, here is some jasmine. That would work really well. I'm giving you some ideas on what to do because you may not have the same thing. So then, having done this, I'm going to place a few broad leaves. And this will cover a lot of our material right in the very beginning. This, even though this is Midnight Foam, which I think I mentioned, I love Midnight Oasis. The Oasis company came up with this, and I love it because you truly cannot see the foam the way we used to because of the darkness. So notice this is all very short, but it goes down. Then you can easily take some of these heavier items and place them, and you'll notice that I'm going from down to up. You don't want to start here and go down. So that just goes straight in. There you go. It's starting to get the matte wood feel, as I call it. Amaranthus, here is, I'm in California, I'm in Encinitas, and so we are very fortunate that we have a lot of materials that are year-round because of where we are. And if you have a wholesaler in your town that ships from California, Amaranthus is becoming so popular because of that old world weedy look. So see, there is your reverse proportion. One quick tip: if you do this technique and you hang too much over the edge, you lose the container. And obviously, this being such a southern classical container, something that Matt Wood used a lot, being from the south, you want to make sure that this is as important and the negative space is as important as what goes on top. So that's something to remember. Here's another item. This is a bottle brush, and you can see that I'm not going to put it in, but look at how fantastic that would look as a texture item. So this is really a good way to bring that down. I want to share one other quick thing before I finish this. If these are not glossy enough or they don't have quite the right color, I'm a big fan of glossy wood tone, and I can't do it here because my crew will get high. So glossy wood tone, by the way, that's not really true. And then the other one is just for flowers, and it's amazing what you can do on this material to bring it to life a little bit, and especially, of course, dried material. So that's something to remember. So now I'm going to work this way, and I'm using some filler. You may notice that I work with line. This is, of course, line material. Both Matt and I love botanicals, and botanicals can be dried, they can be fresh, and you can really use almost anything, but that combination is important. So I would say that the recipe you create, or as Kim Morrill calls it, product blend, that is almost even more important than the arrangement. In other words, you have to start off with the right material and then put it together. If you don't have the right material, you can't make this. In other words, you need the cascade and so on and so on. So that's really important. Then I'm going to follow these berries over here all the way into the focal. And when you run out of time, stick a big hydrangea in the middle. There's that. So this is a, believe it or not, Israeli wax flower that has been color enhanced. That is a terminology that you want to use because color enhanced gives it a little bit more value than painted. And so to me, that's quite something there. And you can buy this preserved as well, of course. I'm sure Knut Nielsen Company has it, but notice it's grouped because this is grouped, and so it just kind of goes all the way down. And really the tutorial part of this is pretty much finished, because the essence of what reverse proportion is pretty much what you're seeing here. Then I have these absolutely amazing Alexandra Farms roses, garden roses, and you can't go wrong. But here's the trick. Don't go up too high because you'll lose the reverse, right? If you want to learn more about proportion, look at the Christian cross. The Christian cross that most of us are familiar with is 1/3 on the top, 1/3 on either side, and 2/3 from the crossing to the bottom. So you always want to make at least 2/3, not go up more than 1/3. Otherwise, the reverse proportion will reverse. Sounds kind of funny, but then, of course, some Hypericum. And you can see that this doesn't take all that much time because what you're selling is the inspiration behind the architecture of this design rather than a round arrangement. I want to add one other quick thing that I'm very passionate about myself. I don't know if you've noticed how few items are in here. I think I have a total of 9 elements in this arrangement. The look right now, at least according to Pinterest and Facebook, is the entire kitchen sink is in one arrangement, and your eye just can't settle. So Joe Smith, my dear beloved friend Joe Smith, the late Joe Smith, he always said, would you want to live with that? And then to go back to Matt Wood, just make it pretty. Yes, it can be creative, but does it have value to live with? So from a consumer perspective, this look is so important because it's something that people relate to, in my opinion. So I'm going to quickly add a few more things, and it goes in this midnight foam. I'm sure that once you work with midnight foam, you'll see how incredible it is. And again, you could not do this in chicken wire, of course, so you have to really remember, you don't have all day, so this is how I would want my designers to design, because yes, it's art, but it's commercial art, and the clock is ticking. So there's kind of this look, and we can certainly keep going, but that's the overall feel. Now, to be honest with you, I have no idea what the front looks like because I haven't turned it around, and I'm not planning on it, but you can see that the reverse proportion of this is what makes this so home decor based. I think that is the biggest part of this design style, that it is home decor. I need to get one more of these gorgeous roses. Look at this, is that amazing? Floral art today is easy compared to 30 years ago when we didn't have what we have today. So thank you, Alexandra Farms, for the gorgeous roses. And for those of you that get to see the photo of my arrangement, which by the way I made right here, we're in the same spot, but those roses open up so beautifully. Last but not least, for those of you that went to school where they told you to peel the rose petals off, real quick, the beauty of this rose is the hybridized darkness in the petals right here. That's what gives it that wow, that organic, natural look, which is so popular. So if you take this and go, well, that one is damaged, and this one is damaged, and yeah, that has a color on it, and yep, this one doesn't quite look good, and this is love you not, and all of a sudden the rose is gone. So make sure that you look at the rose, take truly damaged petals off, which hardly ever happens with Alexandra Farms, but now I don't have that rose anymore. The connection of this with all the rest of the material, I've just pulled it off. So make sure you don't do that, but that's the idea. And I hope you got something from this, and thank you for watching.